Hey there riders, Moto Journo Kris here, and I wanted to go over some of the best small capacity adventure options out there for new riders and briefly outline where these machines sit in the adventure scheme of things. As there's adventure with a strong off-road focus, adventure touring, and adventure sport, so there's different ideas what constitutes an adventure motorcycle. People will argue what is a true adventure motorcycle, but at the end of the day, you just need to know what type of riding you'll be doing to pick the right niche of adventure bike to properly meet your needs. Let's start with the Suzuki V-Strom 250, an inexpensive option with a small 250cc parallel twin cylinder offering 25 horsepower and the trappings of an adventure bike as far as the seating position and overall design of the bike, mimicking the larger V-Strom models. There's no spoked wheels, instead running 17-inch cast items front and rear, but power is optimized for 20 to 90 kilometers per hour and a large fuel capacity plus reasonably lightweight for a road-orientated machine make it easy to handle on unsealed roads and in light gravel, while the overall bike is one that you'll probably ride to the bike's limitations rather than your own, and a 790mm seat height is relatively low. In a similar category, I'd place the Royal Enfield Himalayan, offering a step up to 400cc's, but realistically with similar power to the V-Strom 250, as a single cylinder with more torque and a tractor-like easygoing nature that will overcome almost anything. Light dual-purpose type tyres, spoked wheels and longer travel suspension all push the Himalayan into stronger off-road territory with a more traditional or classic style, while a slightly taller 800mm seat height is still manageable. A smaller fuel tank at 15 litres gives good range, while a wet weight of 191 kilos is slightly heavier than the V-Strom 250 at 188. The Himalayan also features a 21-inch front wheel, but does have a 5-speed gearbox. For a jump up in performance, we move to the Versys-X 300, Kawasaki's offering, which is based on the Ninja 300 power plant and offers a modern styling exercise with a more traditional approach to an adventure bike with a focus on off-road performance. Now this is seen in the spoked wheels with a 19-inch front, and Kawasaki boast long travel suspension, which isn't enormous but does offer a softer dirt bike style setup alongside a 17-litre fuel tank for good range. Performance is up to 40 horsepower, with torque not quite reaching the Himalayan's level, but in a more rev-happy package complete with slipper clutch, while brakes are also a step up with Nissan items fitted. I did note the Versys 300 had quite a hard seat when I last tested it a few years ago, but it very much delivers the adventure bike feel with good wind protection for more touring style riding to boot. The Versys-X is more expensive than the V-Strom 250 and Himalayan, however all these bikes are available for between $7,000 and $8,000 here on the road in Australia, and the Kawasaki is the lightest of the bunch so far by a decent margin. The newest entrant to the segment is of course KTM's 390 Adventure, one-upping much of the existing competition by going higher spec, but also coming in at a higher price point as a result, with a TFT display, adjustable WP Apex long travel suspension, and Biber brakes. The power plant holds an edge over the Versys 300 by about 3.5 horsepower, but is also noticeably stronger in torque with a meaty mid-range that you'd expect from a single and KTM with their ready-to-race motto. With that said, the 390 Adventure does not offer spoked wheels despite a 19-inch front rim, and the more dual sport orientated tyres being standard fitment. This no doubt speaks to the motorcycle's strong road focus, with suspension much more sportily strung compared to all models mentioned so far, and the highest level of performance overall matched to 158 kg dry weight plus 14-litre fuel tank. Competition more closely aligned with the 390 Adventure on price and capacity include the Honda CB500X and Benelli TRK502X, with Honda offering a 500cc parallel twin producing 47 horsepower to KTM's 43.5, but weighing in at a heavier 195 kilograms with 17 litres of fuel capacity. Wheels are cast items as well, with a 19-inch front rim, while the CB500X offers the upright, tall front end and wind protection that makes for a good adventure touring option with dual-purpose tyres. For all that, doing an adventure ride with Rad ADV, we had a rider on a CB500X who handled the ride with ease, and while it's obviously no dirt bike, it's still a formidable choice for adventure. The Benelli TRK502 is cut from a similar cloth, with the 502X offering the most adventure-aimed version, complete with spoked wheels, featuring a 19-inch front, with performance on par with the Honda at 48 horsepower and 45 Nm of torque, but weighing in at a hefty 213 kilos dry with a large 20-litre fuel tank. Of course, 50mm forks and dual front disc brakes are bigger ticket items for the capacity, with a tall exhaust staying true to the adventure theme, while styling and ergonomics again offer that tall front end and good touring comfort and wind protection. The Benelli is heavy though, but for the more road-orientated adventure rider who isn't expecting to do gnarly single trails, offers an ideal road to off-road mix with less emphasis on the off-road. Of these three models, the KTM 390 Adventure comes in at $9,000 right away here in Australia, with the Benelli 9.4 and the Honda edging towards the $10,000 mark once you add on-road costs, although it does seem like the 2019 model was around that $9,000 mark. Of course, you can also come to the adventure segment from the other end of things, looking at dual sport motorcycles, with something like Yamaha's WR250R offering a road-going dirt bike and coming in significantly lighter than the options we've listed so far, with long travel suspension, EFI, spoked wheels and knobby tyres, an extremely tall seat height by road standards, and the proper dirt bike feel. Of course, I'd say the WR250R is a pretty capable road bike as well, with the right tyres fitted, but the obvious limitation here is top speed, something shared with bikes like the V-Strom 250 and Himalayan, with the WR running very high in the rev range at 110 or 120 km per hour. Of course, it will do that pretty effortlessly if you don't mind running so high in the revs for long periods of time. The WR250R falls into a similar segment to the CRF250L or Rally version, the Kawasaki KLX250S or Suzuki DRZ400E, although specifications, performance and price do vary, but obviously the emphasis will sit on a more formidable off-road performance here, like for those thinking of doing trails and single trails rather than touring, or at least highway touring, with the WR250R tending to sit at the premium end of these specific bikes. For those after a little more performance and still weighing in around the 140 kilo mark, you've also got the DRZ400S or 400E, bumping performance up to 40 horsepowers, where the 250s are in the 20s, but still featuring a 5-speed gearbox and a meteor mid-range. You'll be dealing with a carby here, and the DRZ400 hasn't changed much over the years, which is a testament to how good this motorcycle is, with quite the cult following. I'm not going to go into bikes in the 600cc range because that adds a lot of new options and is probably worth a video of its own, but as you can see, there's lots of great options available now, as well as on the second-hand market if you don't have the moolah for a new bike. I really like options like the DRZ400 and WR250R, however that's keeping in mind that I've got other road bikes I can use in the garage, where you may be a new rider looking for the one machine to do it all. If you want something that will also be a very capable highway tourer, I'd look towards the 390 Adventure or Versys-X 300, while the V-Strom 250 offers some pretty unbeatable ease of entry into this style of bike, thanks to a low seat height and manageable power, if being a little more restrained as a result. Then the Himalayan offers classic styling, again in an ultra-friendly package that will tractor through pretty much anything and is probably far more off-road competent than many people would think. So that's a quick and by no means exhaustive look at the beginner adventure segment below 500cc. Which of these bikes would you pick, or would you go up to a 600cc option? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to sub and hit that notification bell. As always, stay safe out there and thanks for watching.